Hey guys, it's Brian. I want to welcome you back to module number 2, and today is all about how to get to 10,000 readers. So one of the things I want to kind of break down before we get started is when it comes to creating content and using that content to drive traffic to your site, your blog, wherever, so you can actually monetize that traffic. There's 3 ways to do it. One is you're going to get readers. That's either a blog or a fan page. You're creating actual text. There's only 3 types of content: text, video, and audio. What we're doing right now is video. But today what I want to cover is, if your strength is writing, I want you to drill down on writing, and your goal should be to get 10,000 readers. In the next module, we're going to cover how to get 10,000 listeners via audio, and then in the next module, we're going to cover how to get 10,000 viewers, which is video. So if you don't like being on camera like this, skip that module for right now. You obviously should still go through it, but I don't want you to worry about implementing. I want you to pick one. If you're a good writer, focus on this module, what I'm going to teach you here. If you're a good speaker, can do kind of behind the scenes audio through a mic, I want you to focus on that module and focus on getting 10,000 listeners. But today is all about readers, and that's either going to be usually through a blog, or you're going to write a book or something along those lines. So when I want to focus, if I'm creating a new business online and I want to get 10,000 people to be readers. So if you watched module number 1, you know this whole thing kind of breaks down to 3 separate categories. This is your audience. You want to get that audience to actually buy something, which is usually in the form of some sort of sales message with a call to action at the end, where they then become a customer, and then your goal is to ascend them up that ladder so they spend a little bit up front, and then they spend a lot moving forward and become a lifetime customer. So now, your audience over here, you can, like I said before, you can build 3 types of audiences. You can build readers, viewers, or listeners, and today is all about readers. So if you really, what it comes down to is I want you guys to start a blog. It gives you a place where you can write and distribute that content. So really what it all comes down to, the first thing I want you guys to do is write a manifesto. So that should be the first thing on your to-do list. This manifesto is basically going to be your brain down on paper. This thing could be 1,000 words, it could be 100,000 words. This is going to be the core of the message that you're going to spit out to the world. And then you can distribute this thing, you can put this manifesto up on your blog, which can either be WordPress or Medium. You can post this thing to Facebook. You can post this thing to Instagram. You can post it basically anywhere that lets you post text to get viewers back to this blog. So once you have this manifesto done, I want you to focus on distributing it out to the world so that people come back to digest it on your blog. Hopefully that makes sense. So when it comes down to blogging, you guys have most likely seen what blogs typically look like. You usually have a header, and then you usually have a couple banners over here, and then you have your blog posts here. So this might be post number 1, and this might be post number 2. Then you have kind of a little snippet, and someone can click the little read more button down here to go and actually digest that post over on another page. So to drive traffic with a blog or with text in general, the best place to do it is usually here with this blog. And this should either be on WordPress or on Medium. I like both. Medium is usually, depends on what your niche and who your target market is, depends on what age they are. You can actually go Google demographics of Medium readers, and if that's kind of your demographic, I would start your blog on Medium, and if it's not, I would start a WordPress blog and just start writing. The key here, if you want the text that you create, either these blog posts or this manifesto, if you want them to be shared so that these viewers bring more viewers back to your blog so that you can move them through this process, this has to be great content. All of this stuff has to be absolutely great. And the good news is, if you're the expert in whatever niche this blog is about, whether it's about baseball or marketing or crochet or whatever it is, it needs to be great content. And usually the types of content that I will create on here are top lists. And what this means is, you guys have probably seen these. This might be 7 ways to do X, or my favorite 10 tools for X. Let's see, 3 top blogs for X. You're just sharing top lists. And the reason people write these, some of the best bloggers out there, the Neil Patels of the world, that their blog gets hundreds of thousands of visits per month, is because these types of content, this type of content gets shared. It's valuable in just the nature of it. The title, if this is a blog, if this is Sam Cart's blog, and I write a blog post that's 7 ways to double the conversion rate of your checkout page, and I go post that on my blog, and then I go share it to Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube and everywhere else, that's going to get shared just because of the actual title. Like, it makes the person sharing it seem more valuable to the people they're sharing to, because you're getting an actual result. There is content behind the actual title. If someone sees me share that, they're going to say, oh, cool, Brian just shared 7 ways to double the conversion rate of my checkout page. If they see, oh, the top 3 blogs on the internet for baseball hitting instruction, my favorite top 10 tools for building a website, whatever it is, that seems valuable, even if it's not. Now, hopefully it's going to be, because the list is actually valuable, but those are the types of lists that I would go create. If we take back a second, the first thing over here is I want you to write this manifesto. And the second piece, before we get to just, this is for ongoing blogging. And sorry, I'm jumping around. This will make sense kind of as we go. The second piece here is your pillar content. And what I mean by pillar content is whatever type of audience, let's say these are golfers. Again, we'll stick with that analogy. If these are all golfers and you're creating a golfing blog and you're going to create golfing content, your manifesto should be everything that you think is wrong with the golfing industry the way it is now. Like, what's holding people back, what coaches are screwing up, whatever it is, this manifesto is going to be what these people know you for. This is what you stand for. These are your core values. This is the core of everything else you're going to create in your business. Everything you're going to sell them on the front end, all the products you're going to sell them on the back end should basically be brought under one umbrella on this post. But there's most likely going to be a couple key sections in this manifesto that you can then create pillar content around. So let's say this piece right here, like what you think is wrong with the golf industry is that every golf coach out there teaches you to do something stupid with your arms or something like that. Then you create your first piece of content, which is about that first topic. So topic number 1 from the manifesto. And then this is topic number 2, and then this is topic number 3. And these 3 things are what we call your pillar content. They're feeding off of this manifesto, which is your message, your core values, everything you believe in, and you're fleshing it out, because most likely you're not going to flesh everything out, everything that you believe about this industry in one manifesto. These things will be your pillar content, is what we call them, and you'll create them on your blog, and then you will spend most of your time sharing that stuff out to bring people back. After you get these 4 pieces of content done, from there on out, what we recommend are top lists. We recommend things like lessons learned, things like stories, and things like how-to content. So how to XYZ. This is typically what you find on almost all blogs, are these 4 pieces of content. These couple things are more actionable, true content that people find valuable, and these 2 things are more about you, the thought leader, and what is kind of behind this manifesto, your core values, letting them get access to you through the written word so they build a connection with you. So hopefully that all makes sense as far as what to actually share, and kind of just the overall strategy of putting your thoughts, your core values out to the world, backing it up with pillar content, and then building off of that as time goes. Because obviously, once you get these 4 pieces done, you're not done creating content. But this is where I would go. If writing was my strength and I didn't want to get behind a camera, didn't want to get behind a microphone, this is what I would do. Once these things are done, and you don't even have to have this stuff done, but once you have these 4 done, and as you create more content, the strategy after that becomes, how do I distribute it? So how do I actually get traffic? Because that's the name of the game, right? Like, none of this matters if you can't go get eyeballs on your stuff. And basically what I would do is I would share the link to either my manifesto or my pillar content or any of my blog posts. I would share them primarily through Facebook. I would share them through Instagram. You can't really share just a link through YouTube, but if you can, you probably can find someone on Fiverr to do this for you, but you can, if you go Google how to turn a blog post into a video, there's actually software that you basically could do a voiceover and turn these pieces of written content into video, and you can go share them on YouTube, you can share them on Snapchat, you can share them in Facebook groups, would be another big one. You can share them in LinkedIn groups. There's 100 places to share good links. You can just cold email people. You can put them on your fan page. You can put them on your personal profile. You want to put it everywhere you can, especially when you're just starting out. Like, if you just, most people think, and this is kind of how it used to be, but it's not that way anymore, that the more you blog, people are just going to find you through SEO and through Google. And while that can happen, that's like an 18-month goal. It's not going to happen. The whole, if you build it or if you write it, they will come, that whole philosophy does not work anymore. It will work to an extent, but you're not going to get 10,000 readers in less than 2 years if all you're doing is writing content and letting Google promote it for you. You have to go out to the world and post it in these 15 different places to get people to come back. And if it's great content, they will come back. One of the tips that you can put this whole thing kind of on steroids is not letting people come back just whenever they feel like it. You got to get people onto your email list. Once they get to this blog, you got to get them onto your email list so that you can continue to remind them to come back. So if this bucket is your email list, your job should be to get as many people down into this bucket as possible. And the way we do it is kind of twofold. The first thing is this banner right here, and you guys are probably familiar with this, probably see them all the time, is you put a little opt-in box right here. And we use ConvertKit for all our stuff, so we will always have a little box up here that usually lets somebody opt in to get either our core manifesto, so I might turn this thing into a PDF, and the only way they can get it is if they opt in on my blog, or this might be some other piece of written content in PDF form that if they are reading this blog post and they see this little box, they can put their name and email, they go into this email list. Now every time you create another piece of pillar content or another blog post over here, you're blasting that whole list. And at first that only might be 50 people, but 50 people's 50 people. Like, that's one of the steps on the way to 10,000. So you got to be able to put them on another list so you can remind them how to get back to your blog. If you're just letting someone come read and come back and hoping that they bookmark it or they remember to come back, they're not going to remember. You want to build a readership of 10,000 people every month. And the only way to do that is if you can control when they come back. And the way you control it is you get them on some sort of email list so you can remind them when to come back. Hopefully that works. The other strategy is a whole lot better than a sidebar opt-in. Let me erase all of this. Here's how this one works. The only problem with this sidebar opt-in over here is it's small. It's not really why people are coming to your site. So let's say they open up blog post number 1 and they're reading this blog post, and let's say this is 7 ways to double conversions. And that's what this whole thing is. So you got strategy number 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to 7. And this is your blog post, and you got some pictures in here, and maybe you have a video in here, and you got a lot of good text. This little sidebar opt-in, there's little plugins that you can put in that are going to keep this thing over on the side, so as they scroll, it has this come down. You can find those if you have a WordPress blog by just Googling WordPress sticky sidebar, and that'll keep that thing down there. But people didn't come, if you shared this blog post over here and if someone's interested in 7 ways to double conversion, they're not going to come from these social channels and go read this blog post in hopes that they're going to get pitched to give their email. Like, that's not why they're there. So these things notoriously don't convert very well. If you get a ton of traffic, you're going to build your list with it, but it's not going to be, you're not going to see 5, 10, 20, 30% of your readers opt in. It's just not going to happen. But there is a way to get 10, 20, 30% of your readers to opt in, and here's how you do it. You have what we call is a content upgrade. And what a content upgrade means is whatever this blog post is about, you're going to let them go deeper than this blog post is letting them go by giving them your email address. So if they're reading through 7 ways to double conversion, here's tactic number 1, you do this, tactic number 2, tactic number 3, and then somewhere in the middle of this blog post, I'm going to have a little box right here. That's usually what we call this is a Johnson box. It's like a dotted line just to catch someone's attention. But this is going to give them some extra download, usually in PDF form, or maybe it's a video, or maybe it's just another piece of text somewhere on your site that says, hey, if you want to make this whole thing easier and get my upgraded version of this blog post, give me your email address. So this might be, let's just say, download my, I'm just going to write template, but I'd probably say a lot more just because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'd say, hey, download my checkout page conversion template. I put it in a PDF. All you got to do is click this button right here, and this could be a lead pages lead box. I think ConvertKit has little ways you can do this. Anything that you're building or collecting leads with, usually there's a little piece of code you can put in here that makes a box pop up. So if someone clicks on that, they're going to see a box right here where someone can put in their name and email and click submit. But this little box will just kind of pop up when they click this thing, and they'll give your email. And then they can skip over if they want, continue reading, and then maybe all the way down to the bottom, I would do it again. So this is tactic 5, 6, 7, and then I'll probably have that box again down at the bottom of that blog post where they can download my template again. This works a heck of a lot better than this sidebar because it's embedded into the content. They can't miss it. You're actually interrupting them halfway through and at the bottom of that blog post. And it's usually what makes it work better is this content upgrade is directly related to whatever the blog post is about. So let's say this is a baseball site, like our old site, Train Baseball. If this is, let's say it's like 3 of my favorite hitting drills. And that's what this blog post is about. And I have number 1, number 2, number 3, then this thing might be download the video of me doing these drills actually on camera. Like, that's perfect because someone's reading about them, and reading's great, blogs are great, but video's even better in that type of scenario because then they can actually see me swing the bat, they can get even more content, they can dive deeper. Hopefully that makes sense. What I would do if I was you, and I was starting a blog and I wanted to go after readers because my niche is really writing. I don't like being in front of cameras. I don't like doing mics, whatever your reason is. I would spend a lot of time creating amazing content and then creating an even better piece of content behind the scenes that's gated through this content upgrade program where they have to put in their name and email, and then they're given this extra PDF or this extra video or this extra audio or whatever it is. That is the process of doing content upgrade. That's going to put more people down in this email list than you ever could do with a sidebar opt-in or just a little subscribe button or any of that stuff. So that's kind of the strategy there. Some of the other tips that I would do when it comes to writing, just to get more people to come to this blog. Tip number 1 is I would guest post. You probably heard this 1,000 times, but this is where you're going to go to someone else's blog, and all you got to do, if you don't know of any blogs in your niche, is just go to Google and type in conversion blog, baseball blog, golf blog, top golf blog, top whatever, put in your niche and then search top that niche blog, and you'll find dozens and dozens of them. And most of them don't have enough time to write content piece after content piece, and if you can come in and bring them a great piece of content and send it to them, just email them, say, hey look, I have this great piece of content, it's my 3 favorite hitting drills, you have a baseball blog, you probably want to feature this, I'm happy to give it to you for free if I can just put a little byline in there or put in my own content upgrade to your audience. Then they're going to bring their audience to the blog post that you wrote. Those people are going to download that content upgrade, get put onto your list, you can put them through your funnel. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, one of those tactics that is heavily underused, that really just comes down to pure hustle. If you guys are willing to do that kind of stuff, your blog is going to win. You're going to build the biggest blog, and you're going to be able to get to that 10,000 readership level faster than most people. The other tip here is just ask people to share. So this, again, is just by asking doesn't mean you're going to get every reader to share, but down at the bottom of your post down here, one of the last things I would do is this is where I would ask for the share. And just be real with people. I mean, just write something that, you know, is actually going to make them feel like they want to share your stuff. Just say, hey, you know, I hope you really liked these 3 hitting drills that I showed you. I hope you opted in for that content upgrade. If you like this content and want more, or you know, if you like this content, if it helped you out, do me a favor. I'm trying to get the word out about this stuff. Click these buttons down below, and you can embed, you know, these little share buttons. There can be a Facebook one, a Twitter one, whatever. And just say, hey, can you do me a favor and just share this out to your friends and your family and whoever. If only a couple percentage points of your people, 3, 4, 5% of your people share it, it's going to bring a flood of traffic back to you. It's not going to be the end all be all, you know, but you do a lot of these things. If you're guest posting and creating a lot of great content and you're sharing the heck out of it on every Facebook group, every LinkedIn group, every fan page that is in your niche, and you're providing real value and you're not just spamming people, plus you're asking people to share, plus you have the content upgrade, this stuff starts to snowball and it picks up, and that's how you create a real blog. You gotta go pro with this stuff. You have to treat it like a real business. This blog is not just, don't just look at it like a hobby. Don't just look at it like something that you're gonna sort of screw around with and it's gonna hit it big, and all of a sudden Google is gonna pick it up and you're gonna get an endless amount of free traffic. It just doesn't happen like that anymore. You gotta hustle. That should kind of be the name of this module, is how to turn your blog into a massive success with pure hustle. Because that's, if you're taking out the paid advertising side, which is kind of a shortcut, but it can cost you a lot of money if you do it wrong, you just got to hustle. You just got to create amazing content, and you got to do all your homework and cover all your bases here. So that's tip number 2. Oh, here's another one. Another one that's working really good right now is post your entire post, kind of repetitive, to Facebook and or Instagram. So if this is 4,000 words, I wouldn't post all of that, but you could probably condense this and write the entire post in Facebook. So if this is your Facebook profile and you got your little face up here, and here's your timeline of all your latest status updates, put a whole blog post inside of Facebook. Maybe it's 5, 10, 12 paragraphs, but just post that right to Facebook and then have a link back to your website. Not to the identical post, but just maybe to your homepage where they can opt in. Maybe have a link to a content upgrade page where maybe there's a landing page that you make in between where they can download a PDF that sort of acts like a content upgrade here. Facebook is giving a lot of traffic. Facebook and Instagram are giving a lot of traffic to people that create content that actually gets engaged with. And these long form content pieces on Facebook are getting a ton of likes, a ton of shares, and a ton of comments, and that means good things for you. So that's something that's working really well right now that I would suggest you guys do. The other thing I would do is, if you have this whole blog post, take the URL up top, paste it into Facebook up here. So you have, usually when you post it, you have your image that pops up and you can write a little content above and below. And I would boost that post and spend like $5 to $10. And what that's gonna do, what's really cool, number one, you're gonna get a lot of traffic. So a lot of people will see this post, and when they click it, they'll head right back over to the actual blog post. They'll get on your list. You're gonna get a lot of direct traffic. But when you boost a post, Facebook is gonna show it to people that are more likely to share, like, and comment. And what that means is, if you have the little social sharing icons over on your site over here, where you see like the little Facebook icon, the Twitter icon, the Instagram icon, whatever, the YouTube icon, and you see the little numbers there, that little $5 or $10 might get you. I've seen times where we'll get likes and shares for like 20 to 30 cents. So for $5 or $10, you might get 30, 50, 100 shares or likes or comments on that link over on Facebook. And then that number over here is gonna be like 50 or however many you get, that number is gonna show up. So when more people come and they see the social proof that 10, 20, 30, 50, 500, whatever it is, people liked it, even though it happened on Facebook, it looks like you're getting a ton of traffic on this blog, which just social proof kind of feeds more social proof. So people will trust your blog more, they're gonna bookmark it more, they're gonna be more likely to opt in, they're gonna be more likely to come back and get on your email list. So that $5 or $10 can go a long way, not just getting you traffic and helping you build a list, but to encourage other people later on, that when someone comes here later and they see, holy cow, 50 people like this thing, I'm gonna keep an eye on this blog, it must be good. There's not one like, and it was probably the author's mom. So just another little hack for you there. Here's another good one. There's a tool called Beacon, and I think it's beacon.by. Not sure why that's their URL, but it is. This tool, you can literally take the URL of any blog post, so your little HTTP up here, take this URL, plop it into this tool, and they will give you a PDF version of this blog post that can be the content upgrade. So if you're thinking, all right, I have a great idea for a post, but I'm not sure what to put in here for what they're gonna download as my content upgrade and get on my list for, you can buy Beaconly. They might have a free version, but whatever it is, it's pretty cheap. And they will actually, their software will make a PDF version of this blog post. That can be the content upgrade. You might be thinking, well, that's pretty dumb. Why would someone read a blog post about 3 of my favorite hitting drills and then opt in for a PDF that's the same exact blog post? They will, because they will want to keep it on their iPad so they can read it on a plane, or they want to just put it on their digital bookshelf. There's not much they can do with a URL other than keep that page open on their web browser the whole time. But if you just give them a way to actually download that PDF, and I'm sure there's ways you can actually spice it up and put more content in there. So you can say, hey, look, download this PDF, it's gonna summarize these 3, but I put 4, 5, and 6 that aren't on the blog, I put them in that PDF. You can do that too. So that's another super easy shortcut to creating these content upgrades. So I would definitely use that tool. The last piece here, obviously everything we talked about here is how to write great content and get it distributed out to the world for free. You have the paid side. Like, we could create the manifesto, the 3-piece of pillar content, a ton of blog posts, and we could just use Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever to funnel a ton of people to this thing, but you're not ready for that yet. And I'm not gonna cover any of that until we get to at least the module where we're gonna talk about conversion and the module where we're gonna talk about scale. Because the truth is, I don't want you spending money over here to get these eyeballs over through your content into your sales funnels before you're ready for it. You don't want to put money in the front until you're ready to make money spit out the back. Hopefully that makes sense. But just trust me there. I'm not going to cover any paid strategies yet, because I want you guys, one, to to learn the value of actually hustling, about creating great content and going out to all of these social channels that are out there now that are so easy to get eyeballs if you're just willing to hustle. You're just willing to post that content on those channels, interact with the people that are commenting on your Facebook shares and commenting in the Facebook group or on Instagram or in LinkedIn groups or wherever, and just interact with people. That's the quickest way to get 10,000 people who are obsessed with you because of what you stand for and the 3 pillars behind what you stand for, and they're obsessed with all the great content that you're creating on your blog. So we're not going to cover any paid strategies yet because truthfully, until you master these 2 things, you're just not ready for it yet. So I think that is about it for this one. Again, these are all kind of some of my favorite tips and or shortcuts. This is obviously the kind of overarching theme. We're still here and showing you how to get 10,000 readers all with text, but it comes down to writing great content and sharing the heck out of it online. And obviously don't treat that like a salesman. Don't go out there and just beg people to read your stuff. Create great content, interact with the people who like your stuff. You know, none of us want to be just pitched over and over. You can tell when you're on social media and you're in a Facebook group and some random guy or random gal comes in and is like, hey, here's my blog post, hope you guys like it. Like, it sounds like it wasn't even a human being that posted that stuff. Go post in there, start interacting with people, start commenting before you ever ask someone for something. Go out and give. Go interact with them on their posts, like their stuff, share their stuff, comment on their stuff, then go in and go for the kill. You know, that might sound, you know, counterproductive, but you know what I mean. Go in, share your stuff, and by that point, hopefully you have a relationship with them, and they're gonna be way more likely to read your stuff and help you out by sharing it with the world. So that's it for this module. Hope you guys like it. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, rewatch this. If any of it didn't make sense, just rewatch it a couple times. Maybe print out this screen so you guys can keep track of it. And that's all I got. So I'll see you guys in the next module.